Have you ever felt like your Salesforce data is just trapped on an island? Well, this guide is for you. We are going to break down exactly how to connect Salesforce to the rest of your business and turn those data silos into some seriously powerful data highways.
So, here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the core challenge itself. Then, we'll build a framework to wrap our heads around it. After that, we'll dive into the key patterns you'll see out in the wild, look at a really cool modern alternative, and finally, figure out how to choose the right path for whatever you're building.
All right, let's jump right in. We need to frame the fundamental problem here because it's something every single growing business eventually runs into with its data. Think about it. An isolated Salesforce instance? That's a huge missed opportunity. The real magic of Salesforce isn't just the data it holds, but how it plugs into your entire business ecosystem. We're talking your ERPs, your databases, all your other critical cloud apps.
You know how it is. Your order management data lives in one system, your financials are in another, and your customer info is in Salesforce. When that happens, you're basically operating with blind spots. These data silos create a really incomplete picture, and that can seriously slow down your decision-making and just tank your overall efficiency.
Okay, so to get a handle on all this complexity, we need a framework. And it's actually a pretty simple one. It all starts by looking at two key things: timing and direction. This is how we start to make sense of all the different ways systems can talk to each other.
First up, let's talk timing. A synchronous process is just like a live phone call. It's a blocking action, which means you ask a question and you literally have to wait for the answer before you can do anything else. On the flip side, an asynchronous process is more like sending a postcard. You pop your message in the mail, and then you just go on with your day, trusting it'll get handled without you needing to wait for an immediate reply. Now, what's really cool is how we can organize all the different integration patterns we're about to talk about. We can map them against not only timing, is it a phone call or a postcard, but also direction. Is Salesforce the one starting the conversation and sending data out, or is some other system calling into Salesforce? This simple little grid gives us a really powerful way to categorize pretty much any integration scenario you can think of.
So now that we have our framework, we're ready to explore the most common integration patterns. You can think of these as the main highways for your data to travel on.
First up, we've got request and reply. This is our synchronous phone call pattern we were just talking about. Salesforce makes a call out to another system and literally just waits. It waits for a response before it lets the user continue. It's all about getting that immediate feedback.
So when would you actually use this? Well, it's perfect for those critical real-time lookups. Imagine a user is typing in a shipping address. You want to validate it right now. Or you're checking a customer's credit score during a sales process. Or maybe you're confirming if a product is in stock before finalizing an order. In all of these cases, the user is waiting for that result. And that's the key difference, right? It's the total opposite of our next pattern, fire and forget, which, well, the name kind of says it all. It operates on a completely different principle. One waits, the other absolutely does not.
And here we go. This is our asynchronous postcard pattern. Salesforce just sends the information out the door and trusts that the system on the other end got it and will take care of it. It doesn't hang around waiting for confirmation, which lets the user just keep on working without any interruption.
This pattern is perfect for tasks that can just happen in the background without making the user wait. Think about sending a confirmation email, or logging an action to some audit system, or maybe kicking off a really complex process in another application that might take a while to finish.
But what if you need to move just massive amounts of data? And it doesn't have to be in real time. That's where Batch Data Synchronization comes into play. It uses a classic process you might have heard of called ETL, which just stands for extract, transform, and load. You pull data from one system, you reformat it to fit the destination, and then you load it into the other one. This is a real workhorse pattern, and you typically schedule it to run during off-peak hours, like overnight, so it doesn't slow things down for your users.
Okay, now let's completely flip the script. The remote call-in pattern is all about when an external application needs to talk to your Salesforce data. So here, Salesforce isn't the one making the call, it's the one picking up the phone. It's acting as the service provider, exposing its data and its logic securely to the outside world.
And these external systems have a few different doorways they can use to get in. You can think of the REST API as a modern, super flexible key that's awesome for web and mobile apps. The SOAP API is more like a formal, standardized key with some really strict rules. And then, for moving absolute truckloads of data, you've got the Bulk API. It's the heavy lifter, designed to handle 50,000 records or more at a time.
Okay, so far we've seen a bunch of patterns for moving data around. But now, let's look at a totally modern approach that really challenges the whole idea of moving data at all.
I mean, really think about that question. This is the core idea behind data virtualization. Instead of constantly copying and syncing and replicating data between all your systems, what if you could just access it live, wherever it happens to live? It's a real game-changing strategy for Salesforce integration.
Now, the main tool for this in the Salesforce world is something called Salesforce Connect. What it does is it creates these special external objects in your org that look and feel just like standard Salesforce objects. But here's the magic trick. The data isn't actually stored in Salesforce. It gets fetched on demand in real time from the external system whenever a user tries to access it.
And this just brilliantly shows the power of this whole approach. You get true, real-time data access with zero sync lag. Your users get a completely seamless experience, working with data from other systems right inside the Salesforce UI they already know and love. And you save big time on data storage costs and all the headaches that come with trying to keep duplicated data in sync.
So, we have covered a lot of ground. How on earth do you choose the right path for your specific project? Let's try and boil everything down into a simple guide.
And here it is, your very own cheat sheet. This table breaks down every pattern we talked about by its timing, its direction, and the perfect business scenario it solves. Do you need immediate validation? Use request and reply. Just need to send a notification? Fire and forget is your friend. Want to access live data from an ERP system without copying it? You should be looking at data virtualization. This is your starting point for any integration design conversation.
At the end of the day, there is no single best pattern. The right choice is always a direct match to the specific business problem you are trying to solve. You just have to ask yourself, how fast do I need this data? How much of it is there? And which way does it need to flow?
By understanding these patterns, from the simple real-time calls all the way up to advanced data virtualization, you are now totally equipped to build bridges between your systems. And not just bridges that work today, but ones that are scalable, efficient, and ready for whatever your business needs next.